we have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started. Whoever can join us. I know Scott will be, and Justin
In
said he's going to be a little
Mexico.
late.
He'll be late.
He'll be late. A couple weeks late.
No, he'll be back tomorrow.
All right. Andrew, you want to get us started?
Sure, Your Honor, members of the council. We met as a legislative committee. Met as a legislative committee last week, and we came up with some priorities for the upcoming legislative session in 2018, and we wanted to put those on paper as a starting point for the discussion this night, or tonight, but then wanted to give the council the opportunity to talk about what their thoughts are, if this is an exhaustive list, or if this is just a starting point, and we want to add to it. But as you can see, we decided that the Regional Treatment Center state bonding request is our main priority for this session. It's something we're going to talk about later tonight here at the council meeting, but it's going to be a larger request. It's going to be one that's a new request. In the past, we've been going for legislative extensions, but this is certainly a different animal with being a new request. And then we identified a handful of secondary priorities, such as the LCCMR modification or extension for the dairy property, which we've previously talked about. A downtown opportunity or enterprise zone, looking at ways in which we could position the downtown to have some sort of incentive to attract business to that area. Different funding options for the dairy property, such as bonding request or special legislation. We talked about helping to lobby for funding of various deed programs, specifically the demolition grant program, which would be the most beneficial program for the dairy property. We talked about exploring the concept of the local option sales tax pertaining to online purchases. Right now, the state can collect sales tax on online purchases, but the local jurisdiction can't, and that would certainly help with the collection of the library sales tax, and it also help make our local businesses more competitive, so then those online retailers are having to do the same. And then just supporting various initiatives of the League of Minnesota Cities and the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, such as LGA increases and other environmental lobbying efforts. So that was the starting point that we talked about as a legislative committee. We bring those forward for your thoughts, questions, concerns, and also just as a starting point for a bigger discussion.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. I guess with that, I'd just like to open it up to the council and just have an open discussion about what else we'd like to add to this list, what don't we like on this list, any thoughts on what's before us.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Well, I agree, number one is RTC. That's just,
Sure.
to me, that's a no-brainer.
And we did talk to Joel about, I know there'd be some, I assume there'd be some concerns as far as letting anything else get into the way of the RTC, and we just talked to Joel about that, and he expressed his belief that there's no reason that we can't tackle some other things, and if anything were ever to get in the way of the RTC, we'd address it at that point, but he doesn't see any reason that we can't have an aggressive agenda at the state capitol and pursue multiple projects at the same time.
Yeah, and Your Honor, he was very careful to say that we shouldn't expect to be successful on all of these things. Certainly, we have to curb our expectations, especially of secondary priorities, but, we certainly can give it an effort and see if there's an appetite for funding multiple things.
The concept of exploring the concept of applying the local option sales tax to online purchases, that came about in a discussion with the mayor of Mayor Cooley from Worthington, and he and I were on a call with the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, and it just came up, and in light of everything that's happening right now with retail, with the Target situation and everything, I thought it was a good time for us to get involved on that issue, and with the local, as it obviously affects the library
Yep.
funding, as more and more sales go online. Again, like Andrew said, I think that believe the way the law is written now is that the state can collect sales tax on online purchases, but it's not set up to do local option sales tax. So at this time, we're kind of just exploring that. But,
So would we have to go through the state to do that then? I mean, would they,
When the goal, I mean, I guess the goal would be, the way I would see it would be to pass legislation to require, because right now there's legislation that requires online, collection of sales tax on online purchases, I believe that's the way it is. Some of the bigger companies do that automatically. If not, I think technically you're supposed to collect it, correct?
Should I just think out loud?
Yeah.
Right now, we have a local sales and use tax. So if you order something online, you receive that in Fergus Falls, you really should be paying use tax on that. Now, do many people do that? Probably not. But I think that is the current law. You should be paying use tax. So I think what you're looking at would be requiring, that it would be collected through the sales tax side of it instead of the use tax. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I guess just exploring the option further and
Yeah.
seeing, just what the current laws are, because I think it was passed a handful of years ago, if I remember, there was a change when, like, the Amazons of the world started collecting it up front, and there was a state law that required the collection. I think it requires you on the back end by law
To pay, right, to
but
pay
not
the
many-
use tax.
But it just doesn't.
And I think the League of Minnesota Cities, and their policy committee has had this as one of their priorities and policies too, so that'd be something.
Yeah, we'll check with the league.
Yeah.
Again, we discussed it through the coalition, but
Mhm.
if the league's working on it, we could work with them.
and then this would be done on a state level just as it is now and then reimbursed to us, correct? Is that the way that works?
Yep, everything's on the state level. It all
Yes.
runs through the
All
state.
runs through the state, but even on all of this, would still run through the state and then we're reimbursed.
Correct.
Hey, Anthony.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
We just got started on our discussion, so we.
Good. You got all the decisions made?
No, not yet.
What?
What else is on there, or what else is not on, anyone else have anything that's not on there that they'd like to see? Do we have as a priority? Brent, Todd?
Just the RTC. Big one.
Tom, you were there, Darren, anything? GC.
I would say that, obviously, though, in discussion, some of the other things need to be floated, even if we're not pushing them as an agenda item.
Well, we-
I mean,
We
more.
just mentioned that we talked to Joel, and he said that his opinion that there's no reason that we can't have an aggressive agenda to pursue more than one of these at the same time. So for the deed or the dairy or anything else, he felt comfortable pursuing.
Because, I mean, I pushed out something today, and there was another kind of project that got like 1.3 million from D to clean up a dirty site in St. Paul, for FedEx. And it's like FedEx got all the money in the world, so I mean, I think there's opportunity for us to, if we don't ask, we'll never get.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why, as the legislative committee, I think you can speak to this, Tom or Andrew, but decided, to put put a pretty aggressive, agenda on there for the upcoming session, just because.
Yeah, might as well ask,
Might as well ask.
as long as we're doing it the right way and not asking for too much and turning people off.
And also with the idea that a lot of times, things you ask for, you don't get the first year. It takes multiple attempts at the legislature to
Yep.
propose.
So do we know what the ask is for the RTC? Have we defined that?
Your Honor, members, we should by the end of the night. We're hoping that's the takeaway from the council tonight is a direction. Stan Tech will be here with us at the council meeting, and there's packets on your desk here that have the various options with dollar amounts. And we'll go through that at the council meeting tonight, and hopefully we can decide on a direction and we can get working in that direction.
Maybe make the point that the bonding
Yeah, I just learned this morning that the Senate bonding tour is going to be here this week. They'll be here on Thursday to look at the RTC. We had the House Capital Investment Committee tour back in, I think, July. It was during the warm months anyway. I know it wasn't this cold. And then the Senate had hit the brakes because of the funding issues that they had with the legislature, and they've gotten all that resolved, and they'll be here on Thursday. So really good timing from the standpoint that we should have a direction leaving tonight. And it's real, close to the session being about a month away, that everything that they see and hear should be fresh in their minds as we start the legislative session. So really good from a timing perspective, other than the cold weather and having to stand outside. But
Do we know when they will be here?
Thursday, right away in the morning, 8:45.
Is that what time we're supposed to meet?
Yep.
At the government?
I will send out the details because we haven't finalized.
Okay.
We just heard about it this morning, that they had the intention of coming, and trying to find a meeting space that doesn't require us to be outside for an hour, so
So how long will they be here?
50 minutes.
50 minutes?
Not a minute more.
No, they leave.
If Rod, Darren, remember this summer, they keep to a tight schedule. Yes. I suppose they have to, they're trying to visit a number of sites around after us. Yeah, what's that? They're going someplace after us.
I definitely want to be there. One of the senators is a good friend of mine.
Oh, yes, yep.
That's Senju.
So the agenda tonight has the approval of these legislative priorities near the end, as well as the 2018 lobbyist proposal that we got from Joel Carlson, which I can discuss in more detail when we get to that on the agenda, and then also the regional treatment center stuff. That we just talked about. So really a heavy focus on the 2018 session. Really good time. Checked off and get a direction tonight, so we're prepared for this.
All right. If anyone has any other discussion on this? If not, we'll just go ahead and adjourn until 5:30.
Is there a floor drain in here somewhere?
Why don't we talk to 5:30?